Hello, everybody. Missed you. I've been inconsistent with my podcasts, and for those of you who are regular followers, I apologize. And I will tell you, there are two reasons for everything that happens. The first one is the one you tell everybody, and the second one is the real one. And the reason that I'll tell everybody is the holidays, we had family in town, and then there was the LA fires. But the real reason is I just didn't prioritize it. So I apologize for all of you that are regular listeners. Thank you. I appreciate your support, and I will do my best to not let you down again. For those of you who are new or didn't notice or didn't care, then hey, there's been nothing lost. So welcome to The Circle with Jeffrey Saad. The LA fires. Wow. I have to admit, I love disasters and tragedies. And before you stop listening or think I'm a jerk, which you might think anyway, I don't want to see anyone suffer ever. I don't want to see anyone lose their home, lose their property, lose their peacefulness. All of that is horrible. As a realtor, my wife and I have been running around like mad for the last month, getting displaced people housed, taking care of everyone. So it's been very emotional and very intense. But what I love about tragedy, minus the loss and the death and the injuries, is it wakes us up. Just like COVID was one of my favorite periods of time, the LA fires have been amazing because, in life, you either are going up, even if super gradual, like I always talk about Kaizen, 1% better every day, or you're going down. If you're flatlined, by definition, you're dead, right? So, personally and professionally, I think you always want to be moving up, getting better for the people you love, for the people you work for, everything, people you work with. And what tragedies do is they shock the system. They wake us up. I mean, if there is a God, I think that would be his intention. Like, hey, time for a wake up, guys. We need to get you back on track, because it's like a reset. It was really interesting. The circle of control and tragedies, COVID, the fires, you clearly see who lives inside the circle, who lives outside the circle, and who's doing their best to try to bounce in between the two. The ones living outside the circle of control spend all their time on, why did this happen? I can't believe this is going on. Oh my gosh, and they're doubling down on what went wrong. The ones inside the circle are focusing on what they can control. All right, what am I going to do moving forward? And it was really interesting because our clients and our friends and the people we know, and again, no judgment. I mean, I'm here to spread joy and add an ounce of value where I can, but I'm also observing what I see. And, some people were immediately in outside the circle mode. I can't believe this. LA's never going to be the same. And to that, I say, you're right. It's going to be better. It's going to be better than ever, because that's what humans do. And if you bet against humans, you probably are going to lose. We will rebuild. It will be better than ever. And so will we, because again, it's a wake-up call, right? So we had people focusing on all the bad and what already had happened that they can't change. And then I had one client call me in particular, Juliet, and she was like, okay, could you please email me a summary of what my house was worth the day it burned down? And that was like 2 days ago. I was like, oh my gosh. I go, are you okay? She goes, yeah, it's a house. And she said a beautiful thing. She goes, we had all our great memories there, and those are still alive. And that is such an important thing to remember when anything bad happens to anyone. And again, it goes without saying. Easy for Jeffrey to say it sitting there when he's in his house and his family's fine. But I also believe that real learning comes from observing, and then real change and transformation comes from experiencing and being in it. So the people that have had loss have the most amazing opportunity to grow and to learn and find out what's really important. So she's like, yeah, we had our memories. And I think that's the thing to remember. Yes, a house, people were saying, oh my gosh, the community will never be the same. Well, what is the definition of community? To me, community is a feeling. Community is a culture. Community is the love and shared experiences of a group. So because their houses are gone does not mean they don't have community anymore. They still have all that love, I hope, all those memories. They don't just disappear. So yes, I mean, the physical house, it's wood and stucco. We were evacuated for one night. And it was a really, again, great reminder and wake-up call that I loved, because my wife was crying. I don't want to lose my home. And sometimes I feel like, oh my God, is something wrong with me? But I immediately went to, my wife's okay and I love her. My kids are okay. I love them. They love me. So far, everyone I know is okay. I mean, that's what matters, right? You can rebuild a house. You can't bring somebody back from the dead. And, a house is wood, a house is glass, you know, some are nicer than others, but it's a thing, and these fires were a reminder to not overvalue things. And, I think everybody should have to evacuate once as a lesson, as something to learn from. Because, as we were evacuating, I mean, yeah, there was a moment where I said, but honey, I really like these shoes. I got these in Santorini, remember? So, yeah, we love our things, of course. But as long as things bring you joy and you're not a slave to things, then it's good, in my opinion. So, when you're evacuating, you stop and you really say, I had friends and people tell me, I looked around and I said, it's just stuff. I don't really need to take anything. Yeah, I'll take my laptop and a couple photos and my phone, but like, it's just stuff, and then there were other people that were in tears and like trying to load up, 5 storage containers to get everything out. And I don't judge either, but I think that there's an opportunity to learn and grow and to say, what really matters. And I think, as we move forward now, the fires are over in LA. It's been a month it's been 5 weeks since they started. It's been about 3 weeks, 4 weeks almost since they were under control. And, already there's a spirit of moving on. And again, more moving on if you didn't lose your house, but even the people that lost their houses were getting placed. They're already talking about, hey, great new chapters. We have one client that's going to go to Miami and take a new job for a couple of years because they don't even want to be in their neighborhood until the toxins and everything are cleaned up. But they're excited about it. It's a new chapter. They have 2 young kids. They're going to go experience Miami and try out this new job. You can always come back, and that's the thing too. I think when you're forced to mix it up, and change houses, change neighborhoods, change cities even, it defines the chapters. So I think you end up having, very clear memories that mean even more because they're defined by each chapter, versus being in one place your whole life. And there's benefits to that too, as whoever's listening that's been in one place their whole life, you could share that. But I think that's the beauty of it. And I love people. I really do. I mean, sometimes I joke and say I hate people as a group, when you're in traffic or whatever it might be, but I love individuals. I find something to love about every single person. And these tragedies, you get to know people even better, especially if you've had a good relationship. You get to learn from them, you get to help them and make a difference. That's the other thing that I like about tragedies is, I have an opportunity to help. My immediate instinct is, what can I do to make it better? And I think that's the whole point of the circle of control, right? What can I actually do? Complaining about the fire, saying it's not fair. Why didn't it rain sooner? Yeah, those are all legit questions, I guess, but like, we don't control that, my direct line to God or whoever has not been working, so I can't change the weather. I can't change the fire. But I can say, all right, what do I want to do starting today? And as a quick side note, I want to, reach out to everybody and say, please, 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 I beg you, go straight to love when it comes to politics. We're a few months, into this new president, and it doesn't matter what side you're on. We all learned that like doubling down on hate and dissing and posting nasty stuff on either side has not solved anything, has not helped anything. So, double down on love, because what you can do, what's in your circle of control, is to wake up every day and say, I'm going to do what I do the best I can do it. I'm going to be who I am the best I can be. And if we keep spreading that joy and that love, we can't help to have things get better. And, I believe in the universe in the sense of this is some kind of a rebalancing, whatever it means, And I think all of us need to say, what do I see on both sides? Because there's no such thing as black and white, rarely. There's always gray. So what is, the learning opportunity from this, and how can I reach across and help bring people to the middle, really? To me, it's not even about which side. It's like peace, love, and perfection resides in the middle, in balance. Any extreme to me is unhelpful. So The other thing I wanted to talk about today, I was just going to mention the fires and I ended up rambling on here for however long that was. But the other thing I want to talk about is the circle of control in your work. So my wife and I are realtors, so I'm going to use real estate as an example, but I really believe that it applies to anything and everything. For many years, I had a bunch of restaurants, hundreds of employees, and the same lessons apply. The circle of control, again, what can you affect? As a realtor, we take a listing, sellers have high expectations, as they should. I want the most money for my house. I want it to sell quickly. I want to feel like my things are safe, all legitimate. And I focus on how I can get them the best result. And accountability is a big part of that. When you take accountability for everything, I love accountability because it's almost like a sigh of relief. Because when you just accept responsibility for anything and everything, even if it's not your fault, it becomes so much easier to make it happen because you're not focused on what somebody else did wrong or what the client did wrong or that you're right and somebody else is wrong and it wasn't me and blah, 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 blah. When you just say, I'm going to make this happen. What can I do today and every day to get my client the highest price and to get things done the way they want to get them done? And I think that is the circle of control, because if I focus on, oh, well, the market is this, and oh, that client has these expectations and they're not realistic. And as soon as you go there, all your energy goes into a black hole and it's not going to solve anything at all. What I think the key is to focus on being better every day. Like I talked about at the beginning of this, I think you're either going up or you're going down. In real estate especially, you hear people all the time, the whole focus is more, more, more. How many houses do I have listed? How many houses have I sold? How many buyers have I worked with? For me, in my early career 25 years ago, sure, I had a spreadsheet. There's my goal. How much can I do? But what I always focused on was just being better for each client. And that has become my wife and I's sole mission. We don't pay attention to how many we do. We pay attention to how great of a job we do. Because if you keep exceeding your client's expectations, coincidentally, you'll end up doing more as well. But if your focus is better instead of more, I think it's a whole lot more fulfilling. And I think if you're in a job or a business or an industry where, the only reward is more, then if you're happy, again, as I always say, if you wake up and say, I love my life, well, then keep doing you and keep doing exactly what you're doing. But if you don't, stop and say, is that one of the reasons? Because, my world is just about more and more and more, because as we all know, there's never enough and there is no end if more is the goal. But if excellent is the goal, I suppose you could probably never be excellent enough either, but at least it's a rewarding journey when you keep trying to get better. And in the restaurants, it was the same thing, right? If I would, focus on everything the managers are not doing, the director of operations, general managers are not doing, it was a spiral downward, right? But my circle of control is, I would say to them, if something's not getting done, something's not happening, it's always one of three things. Either we didn't train you right, we didn't show you, meaning you don't know, or you're not capable. You do know, but you're just not capable, or you just don't want to. And I would always go to that with my crew, because if somebody doesn't know, that's on me. And let's get them trained. Let's retrain them, whatever we have to do. If they know and they're not getting it done, I hated torturing these managers. If they just consistently could not build a culture and build a crew and get results and have a good business, then I don't want to torture them. You're not capable, so let's end this and not, make it terrible. Or if they say, yeah, I can totally do this. I know exactly how to do it. I understand the goals. I've been trained. Okay, so you just don't want to, because if somebody doesn't want to do it, then there's no hope at all. So, I challenge everybody, whatever your business is, stop and ask yourself, is your energy going into how to make people better, how to help people, how to take an action in front of you to move things forward? Or is your, focus on what people aren't doing and what's not happening and why the market isn't behaving the way you want it to? And I think that's the key. So that's my quick, short message for today, from fires to lighting your life on fire in the best way possible. I think if you can wake up every day and say, how do I be better as a person and as a professional, your life will just keep getting better. Have a beautiful day.